Hey guys, a couple of you wanted some more details on how I made this jig for juice grooves. This is the first time I've ever made a video, so bear with me. But the first thing I did was I took two pieces of 3/4 inch birch plywood and made them in a kind of an L shape, making sure that it's a perfect 90 degrees right here. Then what I did is I took a cutting board and I tried to figure out about how far I wanted the juice groove into the inside of this here. And then what I did is I took my router and I set it there and I basically measured how far it was. Let me position this here a little bit. Basically what I did is I figured out about where I wanted the router bit at, where the juice groove is at, and then I measured from the edge of the board over to the edge of the router, which just happened to be 2.5 inches. So what I did is I made all of these 2.5 inches, and I actually made the sides here 2.5 inches as well, mainly because I figured that there'd be no time where I'd want I'd be using a board that was more than 2.5 inches. Then what I did is I screwed these down to the board right up against the guides here. Okay. Then what I did is I positioned my cutting board in there like so, and then I basically made another guide for this side, for the other side, for the far side. Now, as you can see, I cut this out here. Okay, that way this could sit here and this could slide depending on how wide my board was on this side. And obviously we have another 2.5 inch piece here with another 2.5 inch piece here. So for this board right here, basically what would happen is you'd put this right up flush against here and then screw this down so this board cannot move. Now what I plan to do is I plan to put some bolts here with some knob things on. I have to figure something out here. That way I can just unscrew it and the thing can slide, as opposed to having to take the screws out every time to slide it. So that holds the board in this way. And then basically for this one, what I did is kind of a similar thing here, but I notched out the two ends. That way it can kind of rest just like that. All right, now if the board's a little bit bigger, well, then you still have, it'll still work this way. You even got an even longer board. It'll still work that way. All you need is basically you need enough that it'll rest up against both sides as you're going around your cutting board. Now, and like I said, this would even apply. I know it's kind of a short angle here, but I mean this thing can go all the way out to the end, so you can fit a pretty nice sized cutting board inside of here, and obviously two screws here to hold this down. So, but for this one, you just kind of lock that in there, and then when you go to route your groove, your router base just rests right along these as you're going around your router jig. Now you want to make sure that your base, as you're doing that, as you see, the base is only, my jig is only made for this curved part here. So this right here, if you run this against the board, it's going to throw off that dimension from here to out here, and you're going to have your groove all the way at the edge of the board, or maybe even off the board. This jig was made, I have a 1/4 inch round nose router bit in there. So if you're using a different size, again, you're going to have a different, you're going to want to have to play with that. So that's basically how I did this. Any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks.